I'm Jasmine.
I'm Andrea.
And we're Natural You.
We sure are.
We are going live today to announce the kickoff to our spring sweater knit along.
We are.
Mm-hmm.
And we've run into a bit of a glitch.
I wouldn't say it's a glitch. I realized that I didn't announce, because we took last week off sick because we were unwell, I didn't announce that we would be doing a YouTube live today. I wasn't sure if everybody got that in previous messaging or not, so I thought it was best that we start with a Facebook Live before we transition into weekly lives on YouTube as we check in on the progress.
Right.
Right. So
and then you're going to put this on YouTube later.
Of course, yep. Yeah. All of our content will transition over to YouTube for your viewing as well.
So welcome to the Spring Sweater Knit Along. It's quite exciting, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so between us, as you, I think, have seen, is the sprocket sweater that I knit. It's done a slight bit different than the pattern suggests.
Andrea always changes everything.
And I'll talk about that in a minute, but I wanted to introduce the pattern. And if you've got a printed copy, there it is. It is a pattern by Pip and Pin Collective. And
the designer's name is Megan Nodecker.
Right.
Ironically enough, we really like her designs, and without knowing it,
we have the second pattern, which is the Aster T, and it just happens to also be Pip and Pin pattern. So we've done really well in picking very well written patterns for this knit along.
Her patterns are very well written because as part of the write-up and the design, she lists the yardage and
for the sprocket
and amount in grams, both yardage and grams, of how much you need, not just for the main color but for the colors for each size. She really breaks it down.
Yes. So there's somebody that's joining us and doing the sprocket tee as her project for the knit along, and she's making a smaller size, so she's actually going to, instead of 5 minis, incorporate 4, because from the write-up it shows the yardage that you're going to be using for each of the sprockets, the stripes in the yoke, and she's going to use one of her colors twice because she has enough in our 25-gram minis.
Yeah, can I actually just flip to, is that page visible? Right here? Yeah.
It's the next page.
It's the next page. I looked at the circumference and then it breaks it down with some individual measurements and yardage. So you can see, say you're looking at, I don't know, the medium, you know that you are going to need, she's doing it in yards. Perhaps the next page is meters. I can say yards, but okay. You're going to need 44 yards of contrast 1 and 2.
Does it give it in grams at all?
Not on this page. Oh, maybe it is grams. No, it's not. It's definitely meters. I'm looking. Oh my God. Sorry, I still have a bit of COVID fog. The first column is yardage. The second column is grams. Grams. Then it's yardage. Then it's meters. So
Jasmine really got hit with this.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof. I've not been able to make coherent sentences for most of the week. But basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that by each size, she breaks it down not just into grams and yards and meters, but that way you're able to say, oh, I have enough of that one color. I can use it twice.
You forgot to do the actual example.
Yeah. Well, I fumbled it so bad, I thought I'd just explain.
And now I can look for the page myself.
Yeah. Anyway,
so
thank you, Annette,
for a medium,
for joining
let me continue. For a medium, you would need the main color 1250 meters, so she's got 3 skeins, And for the contrast colors, you've got it in meters. It is 44 meters for the first one, getting progressively more, and then 62 for the largest stripe at the bottom here. So our minis have how many meters? Do you remember?
85.
Yeah. So if the first 3 stripes take less than 44 or 46, you'd be able to get 2 of the colors from one mini. And that we just use one of our gradient sets. Okay?
Good morning, Anne. Good morning, Annette. Good morning, Joanne. Thank you for joining us. That's all I've got to say. Take it away, Mom.
So we have the sprocket sweater and the, now I'm doing it. I'm not totally better either, I guess. The Aster Tee.
Right.
I am going to be knitting along with you and knitting the Aster Tee and referring to things on the sprocket sweater, and of course always open to questions.
There was a third pattern, but nobody has mentioned that they're knitting it yet. So our focus is going to be on these 2, unless somebody else does want to do the moonbeam, and then we'd be happy to engage with that pattern as well.
Right. So, starting with the sprocket sweater, because that one gets into actually using the minis during the first week, I wanted to address the neckline, and
Thank you, Annette.
I don't know which page it is now on the pattern, but when you start, it tells you to go straight into knitting the yoke and not worrying about knitting the neckline, because the neckline is picked up at the end, and then you make a double-edged hem for it, so that, because she wanted, the designer wanted your neckline to lay flat. And I thought, well, we're coming into summer and it's going to possibly be too warm to have a double thickness of knitting there, so I, at the very beginning, did ribbing, a 2x2 rib, before I started the yoke. And you might want to take that into consideration if you two don't want to have a thicker band around your neck. There are both written instructions for the yoke pattern and a chart. The chart comes, and it's actually in colors. You start at the bottom, right hand side, and you work your way over. And the reason that it gets wider is because you're going to be doing some increases as you go, and then the chart, of course, needs to be wider for those extra stitches. I did put a marker between each section so that if, especially at the beginning, to count and make sure that I had the right number of stitches.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's what I wanted to touch on with that, and if there's any questions.
Love to you too.
And if you have any questions, please feel free to post those either in the event or in the Year of Adventurous Knitting group.
The Year of Adventurous Knitting group is a fantastic group that we welcome you to join and post your progress pictures in. Yeah.
Yes. So similarly to the last knit along, Jasmine will be making a post at some point that asks you to participate by posting pictures of your yarn, your progress, your options.
Yeah, I thought we might do it a little bit differently this time. Similar but different. Because last time it was really confusing for people to participate because they did the event and the group. So I'm going to streamline things this time around.
Okay. Yeah. And the instructions for that will come out as we feel better and get caught up on some of the things that we haven't been able to do. So please be patient, but know that you will be noticed.
Yeah.
So the second pattern, and the one that I am actually working on now,
I'm going to ask Lorraine's question.
Oh.
She says, can I add the rib neckline after the yoke?
Sure.
Yeah, if you do the provisional cast on
I think that what the pattern says, and if you've read it, it tells you to just knit right from the very beginning, and then at the end pick up your stitches for your neckline. So that's an option. Or if you wanted to do a provisional cast on so that you don't have to pick up the stitches manually from the cast on edge, that's another option. But I just decided to do it at the beginning, but I understand that it's easier to work in the round and make sure that you're not going to be twisting your work if you're not trying to do the ribbing.
Joanne added that it would be easy to do it if you did a provisional cast on, but if you just started with your regular cast on and knitting, like Andrea said, it shouldn't be too hard to pick it up along the edge.
Right.
Yeah. And Karen is joining us, and she says hello.
Hi, Karen.
Beautiful sweater that you're wearing today, Jasmine. Oh, thank you. In honor of our spring sweater knit-along, I'm wearing the sweater that we all knit last January, February for our tulip top knit-along.
Yes. And this pattern has 2 different variations.
Yes, and we ended up knitting, I think you and I both, a similar variation.
Yeah.
Because we kept changing our mind. One was a slightly cropped top with a more of a bell sleeve, and the other is a longer A-line with 3/4 length, and that's what I ended up.
Yeah, why don't you show the side? Because it's so beautiful.
It's got this beautiful detailing along the side there. They look like little tulips. And Andrea knitted in a more tonal than me, so you see the pattern a bit sharper, but I really wanted to show off how some of our variegated yarn knits up. And so
beautiful.
I think every 2 rows I alternated skeins so that there was no chance of pooling in any one spot.
Which is a great thing to bring up.
The only place it pooled, I'll show you, are my elbows right here. I got like these little patches. They're really cute. Like a professor's tweed jacket.
But the body looks nice.
Yeah.
There's no pooling on the body.
No.
Yeah, so that I think partially could be because it's A-line, so there's a different number of stitches every row as well.
And the tulip design that goes down the, what would you call this, the side
Yeah.
sorted panel is framed on either side by this mock cable raglan that sort of carries down.
Okay, but let's talk about now is knit-along.
Well, I'm just saying we pick really good patterns.
We do.
It's a gorgeous top, and we pick really good patterns. And while we're talking about variegated yarn, Andrea is knitting the Astrid T for me, because she got the sprocket for herself, and she's being very nice and knitting for me while I tackle other projects.
So I have started because I feel that I need to be at the sprockets when other people are at the sprockets so that we can talk about them together. And I chose, do you have your little bag of minis and stuff?
I did, I brought it over.
Oh good, okay. So the color that I am doing the main body in is called Lagoon. There is there any left? I don't think so.
There's one left. Sorry, it's very popular.
What I've discovered is that the bottom of mine is curling, and I think if that happens to you, please don't be alarmed. When you block it, you can get that to lay flat.
So,
sometimes you have to put like a damp tea towel on the edge to get it to learn to behave, and then you're fine. You're good
Speaking
to go.
of variegated yarn, though, this has obviously highlights and lowlights because it was a yellow over-dyed with an indigo vat.
Yep.
And it's really playing up lovely.
I'm going to get closer so that you can see how our tonals work. And the color is coming out just beautifully on this. The variation of the different shades and that are in the yarn. And I've had to add a second skein, and what I've done is I striped them so that the transition from one color to the next wouldn't be so obvious, and it is not to me. Anyway, I carried it up the back on the inside. You can see this row where I twisted the stitches when I came to the center, and so just carried the yarn up. You don't need to start and stop at the ball every row.
Are you going to do that all the way, or just will you stripe it and then go entirely into the second skein?
No, I did the first skein to a certain amount, and then I thought, oh, it's getting low, I better switch. And I actually had a much wider stretch of striping than I had anticipated. But now I'm just working with the second color.
Right.
The second skein.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
unlike,
you don't do it the entire sweater.
Unlike a truly variegated color where there's, like this, you don't need to do it. You just have to do it while you stripe it in.
Right.
Yeah.
So I did 1 row, and then I did 2 rows, and then sometimes I lost track of whether or not I had switched the last time I got to the end, so I was sick. So I just sort of did either 1 or 2 stripes of each color until I ran out of the old color.
Then I chose minis for the asters along the top that come in a sort of gradient. And I chose them not from the sets we made up for the Boreal collection, but from our Advent calendar minis.
Yes.
So,
and those are going to look really nice.
Yeah, really sharp against the green.
It'll look like a flower garden.
It will. Here, I'm trying
of
to...
asters.
Mm-hmm. So we've got orange. I think this was something to do with lobster bisque, and this was pitcher plant. And then... this was something Northumberland Sunset, and then...
I don't know which one you're holding.
I'm trying to point it to the camera.
Right.
Northumberland Sunset.
Right.
This one is Wild Lupin, and this one here is Blueberry... Grunt, yeah.
So they'll look really nice with this.
Yeah.
I did bring some other... if you've got questions about the pattern... then please feel free to post those now or anytime if you run into something in the group.
Yeah.
We are a week late. We were closed for 3 days last week due to our illness, and so some people were not able to come and get their yarn like they had anticipated. So we're going to add a week on at the end of the knit along, extend it so that people that haven't been able to get their yarn still have the opportunity to join in.
Exactly. So instead of ending on May 11th, which would have been 6 weeks, we're going to end on May 18th to give everyone that extra little push to finish their project and hopefully even block it so that we can wear it.
And the way that some of you knit, you can make both sweaters.
Yeah, or all 3, who knows?
Yeah.
So Lagoon is so pretty, yes. We do pick good patterns, thanks Joanne.
One thing I just thought of.
Yeah.
Lagoon is pretty much gone now. There's 1 skein, but in our not Pure and Simple, in the Echo yarns, there is a colorway. Is it Wetlands?
Yeah.
That's quite similar to Lagoon. It's more distinct, the blue and the green in it. So it doesn't blend quite as much as Lagoon did, but it is a color that's available, and if you're really wanting to use those shades.
Right. And the sweater behind us was knit with Cosmo. That's the red colorway featured in the sweater. I know a lot of people think natural dyes and they think pale colors, and we do get pale colors, and we do get a lot of yellows and sort of olive tone greens when working with natural plants that we forage from roadsides and things like that.
And you can get deeper colors. You just use more plant material.
Yes, it's all about the concentration of stuff. But yeah, so we just get a wide variety of options.
And do you want to show some of the colors off?
Yeah, Andrea's chose some that would make good tops if you're joining us late for this and want some inspiration.
So I'm going to give you the first. Why don't you pick up the first one? No, just
okay.
And the matching mini set.
Yes, I will.
Okay, and I'll get this one so that we know that we've covered that. So Jasmine's got the Margarita as the main color, and it's quite summery. It's a limey, almost yellow.
Yeah, it was dyed with marigolds. And some of it's quite light, almost white.
And so those colors with it, I think, would be really nice because it's a cool yellow, and those other colors would pop very nicely.
Vibrant, yeah.
Yeah. And I've chosen to match up Red Fox.
I love Red Fox.
With these blues, greens, and a walnutty color.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yes. And by the way, I named the gradient sets after goddesses. So this is Iris, and that one is Artemis.
So if you're trying to take note and remember Artemis, and Red Fox.
You want me to hold it closer? No, you're good. That's right. Okay.
So that's those ones. And then this colorway was in the main color in the Advent calendar, Malmorby Sands. This is a second dye lot of that. I think this one is a bit lighter.
It's softer, I think. Yeah, a little bit.
But I thought it would go really nicely with these purples.
Oh, I do like
and
that,
pinks and blues. Kind of a beachy thing.
Yeah, I like the way that plays together. And again, that's a gradient. I know a lot of people, when they're thinking the Astrotalk, we're thinking gradients, and sprockets, you wanted a bit more contrast.
So, the next one is, how do you,
Sybil.
Sybil, the goddess. And I thought looked really nice with strawberry daiquiri.
What a pop of color that's like.
So
it looks almost neon. Like it's a very bright pink.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's dyed with cochineal.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? And there's a rainbow
I
little mini in
love
there.
the green in there, and like that pinky blue, and then the green, blue, red swirl. It's very lovely. I like that.
So I thought that was nice and summery looking. And then there was one, oh, here. And I thought, and some people really prefer neutrals.
I love neutrals sometimes.
So we've got 3 different grays.
That's right.
And
we were able to produce a number of grays with natural dyes. Some of them more pure, like leaning towards stone, and others leaning towards purple tones. And
it depends on the...
a deep dark charcoal, yeah.
Right. Because it's a mixture of something that produces a tannin with some iron. So
right. So in GOTS we have Off the Rocks, which is very dark in comparison. Then we have Anchor, and beside it, Balsam Bark from the new collection. And
I thought that something nice and bright with the neutral would look really good.
Yeah.
So there are obviously all kinds of examples and combinations that can be used. Jasmine has posted some leading up to today.
And I'll post some more because I just love posting combinations. Keep it going, inspire you for your next project.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Did you talk about swatching? Didn't you want to talk about a swatch?
Yes. It is important that you swatch before you start. I imagine you're all counting stitches and casting on now. Or you are working on your swatch, or maybe you did that prior to today.
Oh, we did see a post this morning. I believe it was Anne who did her woke up early and did her swatch.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. It's important to swatch.
Yes, and Anne is actually working with a neutral. She's using Morning Fog, which we have in the Pure and Simple. There's very little of it left.
Yeah, Pure and Simple has been discontinued, and it's in our bargain bin on the website. It's on sale, so it's all gone.
So I think there's a couple of people that were lucky enough to get enough skeins of the color that they like to work on this project out of the bargain bin.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I think that's the great thing about our merino fingering, even though the colorways are offered on slightly different bases, be it GOTS or Echo. or Pure and Simple, they all work together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the Sprocket Tee sweater is done with the Echo Minis that were in the Advent calendar, but the main color is a GOTS base. And, like, I mean, you can't tell by looking at it.
No. Well, you can't tell even up close.
Right.
Right. Was there something else that we wanted to mention? Tonight we're doing our Maker's Circle. That's our virtual Zoom. So after you've cast on, hopefully you've had a chance to cast on today during the cast on party or later this afternoon. Join us this evening as we show off our colors and talk about our progress.
Yeah, because we'd love to see.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't even know what the yarn is going to look like wound up because it looks
We don't have a chance to work with all of it, right?
Right.
So
this is the Lagoon.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
But in the skein, it doesn't look quite the same.
I think it does, but I know what you mean.
Because you can see the variations of color once it's wound like this, and so it looks different. Anyway.
So we'd love to see everyone in your color. You can connect with our Maker's Circle either through the event on Facebook or through the link on our website under events. So yeah.
I like your hair clip.
Thank you. I'm trying something.
You should show it off.
I doubt that they can see it. I have a little bobby pin in. It's a leaf.
It's a feather.
It's a feather. Okay.
You must have a leaf as well.
Must.
You grab the feather.
Okay.
Anyway, for those of you that didn't see this live because you thought you should be on YouTube, you will be able to watch it on YouTube once Jasmine has it loaded.
Why are you saying that?
I don't know, because I would be mixed up, because I tend to be getting mixed up.
But by that time, either they found it on YouTube or they've watched it on Facebook.
We're both not 100%
We're not 100%.
yet. But we want to be there for you.
The follow-ups in the weeks to come, we're all going to be posting progress pictures. We hope that you engage with that as well. If you're posting on your social media, please tag us and use the hashtag Spring Sweater KAL or Year of Adventurous Knitting.
Year of Adventurous Knitting.
I think that would be better, yeah.
Then I'll find it.
From going forward, we're going to be doing YouTube lives to keep our weekly check-ins up to date. And like I said, every other week we're going to have our virtual Maker's Circle. So please join us for that too.
Yes.
Okay.
So for today, happy knitting.
Happy knitting.
We'll see you tonight.